In this tutorial, we will learn about index context. So before we start, I just want to mention that you should check out my 2 other videos where I talk about submeshes and text layers inside Cavalry, and they will provide you with extra information about working with shapes in Cavalry in more procedural and controlled way. If you're a designer experienced in working in After Effects with expressions, you might be familiar with using layer index to drive certain properties based on the layer index itself. Cavalry makes it easier. All the information I'll be talking about is available on the Cavalry documentation page, and we will do a number of exercises that will help explain those concepts in more practical way. Also, I will make sure to package this project file and upload it to my Gumroad page, where you'll be able to explore every single example I prepared here, including the notes that will tell you what to change to see the result on the screen. So let's get started. So I'm going to create a simple rectangle, make it about 100 by 100 pixels and change the fill color to something slightly darker so you can see it better. Then I need to create a text layer, maybe about 50 pixels, center align it, change the fill color to bright red so we can see it better against this background, point it to the rectangle shape, go back to Shape tab, and then we need to add string generator. Zero out all the properties, and we've got our baseline shape. Let's put this shape inside duplicator, change it to linear distribution, maybe make something like 9 copies, and space this out. Go back to Advanced tab, select your string generator, grab the index context property and drop it on the number field. So what we just did, we created our own little debug layer with this text layer, because now we can see that we have 9 copies of a rectangle created with a duplicator, and we can see their individual context number. So if I turn on Draw Debug Information and select Duplicator, we can see that each of these shapes have an index number assigned to them, and the same number is being generated with the text shape. So this text shape layer will help us visualize this better. You can think about context number as an ID of a shape inside Duplicator. And this is not only limited to duplicators, because things like value array has an index number to them as well. And we can, for example, write some values here. And if I simply plug in this array into the number property and check the outer index, I can simply use an index number to specify which property from value array I want to display on my design. So as you can see, the context number is not only limited to duplicator, but to other things inside Cavalry as well. So let's go back to our original design. I'm going to plug in the index context into the number. Go back to Shape tab, and let's change the distribution mode to something like grid. Can space this out, and as you can see, the index context is being generated no matter the distribution type. I can pick maybe Fibonacci, space this out, and as you can see, every single square has a number assigned to them. Let's pick random, maybe 20 copies. Space this out a little bit, check relax, and increase the relax distance so now we can see every single square without overlapping each other. So you might be thinking, what can you do with this information? So let's say I've got a little star shape. I'm going to change its color to bright green, make it about maybe 35 pixels big. And I'm going to look for duplicate submesh transform utility, grab the duplicator, drop it into the input shape, and now I'm going to take the position data from this utility and feed it into the position data of the star. So what this utility does is simply we can use a duplicator and use the position data to position this star shape on top of specific shape within a duplicator. So we are using the index number of every generated shape to dynamically position this shape on top of it. So I can specify, for example, 11, and this star is positioned on the shape with an index context value of 11. And we can check this with draw debug information. And as you can see, there is 11 here. There's 11 on our text layer, and the star is positioned on the shape with an index context value of 11. So let's duplicate this composition, call it v2, and let's work on a second example. I'm going to delete these two layers, select the duplicator, switch it to linear for now, maybe make it something like 15 copies, and space them out. Go back to our rectangle, go to Fill, and add a color array. I'm going to pick two different colors, maybe like a deeper blue and green. And now I want to assign a green color to a shape with a specific index value. And we can do that by utilizing the duplicator index to our advantage by using a comparison node, switching to equal to, and grabbing index context node and just dropping it in here. So let's say I want to color everything blue except the shape number 9. And you can do it like this. You can change this operation mode to something like greater than or equal to 9. So every single shape with an index number of value 9 and above will be colored green. And you can play with this, change it to less than or equal to, and so on. As you can see, we can use the index data to our advantage if you want to make precise selections. So let's make another copy of our composition, call it v3. I'm going to delete the color array, select the duplicator, call it row, and maybe change the number of copies to 5, squeeze them up a little bit, and put this duplicator inside another duplicator. Switch it to linear, vertical, space this out, and maybe let's make 5 more copies. So what we have is essentially a grid made out of rows. And as you can see, this index data travels through every single row. And if you select your first duplicator, go to Advanced tab and turn off Use Index Context. And as you can see, index numbers change. This means that the first duplicator is not passing through index data, so every single row starts from index value of 0, and you can use this to your advantage. So let's make a simple example. I'm going to turn this back on, go to Shape, I'm still on the row duplicator, right-click, add Behavior, Oscillator to the scale property. I'm going to switch it to 0.2 to 1.5, zero out the stagger, and maybe frequency of 1. And when I scroll the timeline, as you can see, the shapes are pulsing from this value to 1.5. Now, when we add some value to stagger, for example, 3, you can see that oscillator wraps around between rows. However, when you go back to the first duplicator, go to Advanced tab and turn off the index, then the animation changes. This is because we turned off the index data, so the data flow from oscillator does not flow across every single shape, but rather each row is being repeated as it is. So this little button that turns off flow of index information from the first duplicator all the way to the second can come handy if you want to create some unique designs. So let's select the second duplicator, go to shape time offset and add stagger to it, and maybe change the maximum value to 10. And see how the animation flows now slightly differently from one corner all the way to the bottom. So as you can see, you can make a very different design if you let the index context flow between copies of your duplicator, or if you turn it off altogether. So let's make one more example. I'm going to duplicate this composition, call it V5, and I'm going to delete everything except the rectangle shape. Let's change the size to 50 and let's make another shape like a polygon, and I'm going to set the size to 50 as well and change the color to something different so you can see it better. So we've got two shapes. So I'm going to select these two shapes, put them inside a duplicator, call it cell, switch it to linear mode, make two copies, and space them out in a way that there is like a small gap in between them. Let's put this cell in another duplicator, switch it to linear, vertical, switch it to step, and again change the size value so each cell is being stacked on top of each other, like so, maybe like 5. I'm going to call it column, and I want to position the anchor point at the very bottom, so I'm going to add a line modifier and push Y all the way up. Finally, let's take this duplicator and put this into another duplicator. Then let's switch the distribution to linear mode, change the size mode to step, maybe make something like 5 copies. I'm going to call this duplicator layout. So we have two shapes inside one duplicator that forms a little cell, like a little unit. And this cell is inside another duplicator that forms a column. And this column is inside another duplicator that creates our layout. So I want to create a graphic where each column will have more and more and more shapes the more copies we have. So we will start with one set of shapes over here, and this will keep going to 2, 3, and so on. So what we can do is simply select our column duplicator, right-click, go to Utility, Index Context. Index Context layer is essentially the same thing as going to the Advanced tab in a duplicator and grabbing this input and plugging it into a field on other layer. The benefit of using this index context layer is that I can easily grab this utility and plug it into another property without having to go through Advanced tab. Additionally, you can offset the upstream depth or offset it altogether, which we're gonna do in a second. Let me turn on the debug information, and as you can see, we've got 5 shapes, 5 copies of a column created, but we can only see 4. This is because the first index context value is 0, then 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on. So what we need to do, we simply need to offset our index context by 1. So now our column creates one set of cells, then 2, 3, 4, and so on. And if we keep changing the number of copies, this will go up and up and up. Let's go back to the cell property. And what I want to do now is, instead of using 2 shapes on every single column, I want to use either rectangles or polygons. And we can do that with the shape ID. So as you can see, we can flick between both of them. So let's add comparison node. Then let's add index context property here. and change the operation to equal to. And I want to target second column in our layout shape. So I'm going to leave this property as 1 and turn on the layout duplicator to see what's going on. So what's happening now is we are using comparison node to compare the index value. And if it's true, then we simply switching the shape to rectangle. And if it's false, so the result is not correct, then we are using polygon. However, this does not target every single column, but rather than individual shapes inside this layout duplicator. So I'm going to switch it back to 1. The reason for this is that the index context upstream depth is set at 1. So essentially, this index context layer is grabbing index data from this duplicator, but we have to target the third one. So if I change the upstream depth to 3, then now this comparison node is looking at the index context data from the layout duplicator rather than from the cell. So this way I can easily swap shapes inside layout duplicator by using their index data. So this might be a little bit easier to understand if you look at the dependency graph. So this is our layout duplicator, the very top one. Then we have column, and this is the cell. And these guys are our source shapes. So this index context layer is flowing all the way to the cell. But instead of stopping here, we're going to 3 levels up. And that's why this upstream depth is set at 3. So this index context is grabbing information from this duplicator and making decision where to swap individual shapes. This index context layer is simply looking at this column duplicator to populate each column with more and more shapes. The only difference is we are offsetting it by 1, otherwise we are missing 1 column. So I would say this was more kind of on a complex side and unusual setup where we have multiple duplicators feeding into each other to create final design, but it's worth knowing how you can manipulate data from different duplicators to affect different shapes and your design on a more procedural way by using the context information. So based on the examples we just did, hopefully you can understand the index context better and how can you use it to your advantage. And if you want to play with all the other examples I put together, make sure to download the project files from Gumroad. Thanks for watching.